Hey, welcome to the Ironwood Strength Show. Um, Gonna talk about forgetting today, being forgetful. So many years ago, back probably around '06 or '07, I was working at Virginia Commonwealth University out in Richmond, Virginia, and working for Coach Tim Contos. And Tim, one day we're in the office. I don't know if it may have been the end of the day when nothing was going on and we were getting ready to get out of there, but uh, I remember he asked me, and I can't directly quote him because it's been a long time, but he asked me a question. And he asked me, is it bad when you forget certain exercises that you know are really good exercises? And I think the conventional wisdom type of answer here is yes, it's horrible that you forgot these exercises and you haven't been putting them in your programs for your teams. But my honest answer, my honest belief is no, it is not a bad thing. Because as coaches, we're constantly trying to make things better. And that involves changing. You can't just do the same thing over and over again and expect to get better. So as we learn new things, and Tim and I both were very kind of proactive as far as trying to learn and trying to make ourselves better, make ourselves more knowledgeable. And then we could turn that knowledge into usefulness, or we would put that knowledge to use with our own training. We were both competitive lifters, or the athletes that we're working with on in their programs. And so, in doing that, we oftentimes would put new things in, and then we'd use that for a while and we'd learn something else and put that for, and so some of those exercises that were very good exercises, or methods that we utilize or whatever, um, kind of got pushed to the side. That doesn't mean that we're forgetting them forever. That means that they got pushed to the side for the time being and we're focusing on other things, and they may kind of get forgotten, but in time, they're going to come back. It's not a bad thing to not have them in there because we're replacing them with things that, through our pursuit of knowledge, we deem to be worthy of filling that role. Okay, so in turn, we temporarily forgot the exercises that we knew were good. Now, when we bring them back in, we could actually expect a big boost from those exercises because they haven't been performed in a while. Uh, and this is going to happen over and over. Things are going to cycle in, things are going to cycle out. It's kind of like the whole cycle of life type of thing. Things constantly cite in training. Things you're going to do things. You're going to be on a. This is going to be a hot topic. You're going to be doing this, and then in time you're going to move on to something else. Sometimes those exercises that you thought were really good, or the methods that you were utilizing, or whatever it was, they get pushed back and they don't get brought in right away. But that's okay. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't make you a bad coach because you forgot about something for a certain amount of time. Now, we're not talking about changing our core beliefs, okay, or our core values, or how our core philosophy. We're not talking about throwing all that out the window and putting something else in and forgetting it. We're talking about a simple exercise. We're talking about, maybe a certain loading pattern that we used to like, that we like to use, that we got away from a little while. It's okay. Okay. Even in your own training, you're going to do this frequently if you lift for a long time. Um, those things are okay. It's part of that cycle that you go through. It's um, Now, do we want to put something to the side and forget it forever? No. And that's why I highly advocate writing things down, and keeping not necessarily a journal or logs, but keeping some sort of record of the things that you do, or the things that you, whether it be exercises um, or different prescriptions of how you go about things. Have some way of documenting that you can look back on. I use Microsoft Excel to a fault, from organization to calculations, to a lot of different things that I utilize Excel for. I have 2 different files of exercise lists, and they're organized to the extreme. Do you need to go to the extreme? Probably not, but it is a way of being able to look back at things and say, hey, I used to do that exercise and I haven't done it in a long time. Or I used to utilize that exercise with track and field, or with volleyball, or with football, and I haven't done that in a long time. I need to get that back in. That's part of the learning process. In all honesty, this forgetting and bringing it back is part of the learning process. So I don't encourage you to forget, but I do encourage you to constantly review, and that's going to bring forward some of those things that you may have forgotten about. And then in that process, you are learning. So it's not a bad thing to forget. It's a bad thing to forget forever. But it's not a bad thing to temporarily forget and cycle through different aspects of training. I will start showing some of my Excel files, and hopefully you can get something out of that. And but we'll get to that in time. But for now, don't forget. Remember, it's not a bad thing to have forgotten something, as long as you don't forget it forever. That's it for today. If you like what you're seeing on this channel, please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and of course, share this with the lifters and coaches that you think could get something out of this. Till next time, stay strong, and I'll see you in the Ironwood Strength Show.